Good day to all. Welcome to the second part of the unit 1. The second part will be covering the portion of electric fields, electrostatic fields. The electrostatic fields in this particular section of the unit, we will be dealing with the electric field, Coulomb's law, then the electric field due to continuous and discrete charge densities, uh, and Gauss law and its applications. So these are all the topics that we are going to cover in this section of the unit. Now, uh, Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law is an law which deals with the force between 2 point charges. First, what do you mean by a charge? A charge is an electromagnetic interaction with the matter. So a charge, it is a particle that going to interact with the matter with the electromagnetic interactions. So we have dealt with the electromagnetic interactions in the first video of our lecture series in this unit 1. In that we have said that the electromagnetic interactions are dealt with the charged particles. So a charge is going to be a inert property of one matter. So if you take any atom, it will have a charge, and that particular atom having that charge due to the inert property of that particular atom, particular ion. So a point charge is going to be defined as a collection of electric charges on a pinhead. That is, if you are taking a pinhead, there may be collection of charges. That collection of charges are going to be called as point charge. So why we are saying like that means we are defining one coulomb as a 6 into 10 power 18 electrons. So such much electrons are going to be constitute 1 coulomb. So if you are dividing it with inversing that particular constant 1 divided by 6 into 10 power 18, we will be getting this amount of charge. So this amount of charge can be compared with the electric charge of an electron. This can be compared with the electric charge of a proton. So whatever may be the value we are getting, these are all closely related to each other. So a point charge may consist of collection of electrons or collection of protons. Coulomb's law states the force between 2 point charges. So this law has been found by the Charles Augustin de Coulomb in 1785 by an experimental law. So how he have invented that kind of details, I am uploading with a separate video. In that video, a professor will demonstrate how the Coulomb's law is being invented. So in that, tiny charged with balls representing electric point charges, and each charge exerts a mechanical force on other. So if you are taking 2 charges, that particular 2 charges will be exerting a mechanical force, and that particular mechanical force and its characteristics mainly depends on these 5 points. The force that is proportional to the magnitudes of charges Q1 and Q2, that is it depends on the magnitude of charges Q1 Q2. The charges may repel or may attract. So if the charges are going to be similar charges, they will repel each other, but unlike charges will be attracting. Third point is the particular force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges. So how this particular relation has been derived will be elaborated in the particular video which I am uploading. So you can see with that. So I don't want to spend much time with this point. So I will be moving on. So force depends on the medium. Medium also is will going to give a big change in this particular force, and force acting along the straight line joining the 2 points. So if you are taking any two charges, the force between the charge can be force along this side, that is from Q1 to Q2. We are saying this is a F12. The force can be from Q2 to Q1. That force is going to be called as F21. So this is the distance vector R12 that can be calculated with the help of the R2 and R1 distances. So we can define the unit vector also, AR12 or AR21. So whatever may be the things, we can represent the corresponding vectors and the represent with the help of corresponding vector and the corresponding distance. So we can represent the unit vector like this. So this force can be calculated with the help of Coulomb's law with this equation. So if you are observing this equation, F12 or a force between two charges is equal to Q1 Q2 divided by epsilon R square K into K AR1 cap. So in how this K, that is the proportionality constant K, means this K can be found that it is 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon. So we can say this equation as F12 is equal to 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square, such as we can say. So this this epsilon can be given as epsilon naught depending upon the medium. So if you are using free space between two charges, then it is going to be the epsilon naught, that is called as permittivity of free space in the vacuum. So if you are using material, then this epsilon can be said as epsilon naught into epsilon r. So this epsilon r is a relative permittivity of that particular material. So how this particular constant, that is the proportionality constant, has been derived can be explained in this particular manner. I am just going to brief. I am not going to into details. This one, how this 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught came means, this 1 divided by 4 pi has came from the consideration of the spherical symmetry. If you are considering spherical symmetry, that spherical symmetry have the property of 1 divided by 4 pi number of unit vectors can be represented for any force that is dealing with the spherical symmetry. So we are just going to replace this K with the help of 1 divided by 4 pi. But we need to if it is going to be if you are considering it as a cylindrical symmetry, then it will be coming as 1 divided by 2 pi. But we are going to only deal with the spherical symmetry in our physical problems. So this constant is permanently replaced with the 1 divided by 4 pi. How this epsilon naught came? This epsilon naught is the permittivity of the material. Epsilon naught is the permittivity of the free space, and this can also be replaced with the epsilon, that is epsilon naught into epsilon r for a particular given material. So what is the value of this epsilon naught? Because this epsilon r is going to be medium dependent, this epsilon naught is a constant. So this epsilon, how this epsilon naught has been derived means, I have given the details how that has been derived. it has been derived from the MKS system. They had defined some of the MKS constants. So from that constants they have derived the value of epsilon naught. If you want to know how that particular epsilon naught has been derived, you can go through, but this is not important to your as far as your subject is being concerned. But if you want to know, you can go through this particular material. So I just given to you, so you can refer to this material. The limitations of the Coulomb's law are very important. First limitation, Coulomb's law fails to give the unique answers for finding the magnitude of other charges. If you're given with a one charge value, and force has been given, if the force has been given and one charge value has been given, if you want to find out another charge, means this cannot be applicable. Because the Coulomb's law will not give the correct answer for that particular problem. And also, if you want to find out distance, polarity, and location and the distance, whatever, if you want to calculate, that will give a wrong answers. So the Coulomb's law fails to give the unique answers for any of the problems, because why it is giving wrong answers means, it is since there might be multiple possibilities of q by r square, because we are just dealing with the ratio of these two. So whatever may be the parameter that you want to find out, whether it can be q1 or q2 or it can be r. So whatever may be the parameter, if you want to find out from the force given, that particular quantity can be calculated with the any possible ratio between any of the two values. So that ratio may have multiple possibilities, so that and also a direction. So these kind of limitations are forcing the Coulomb's law to give a wrong answers. It can fail at such scenarios. Also, only applied between 2 point charges. You cannot go for the other charge densities. So if you want to go for other charge densities, you have to consider that as a point charge, or you have to consider it as a electric field kind of thing, or you have to consider that as a charge densities. After that only you can apply the Coulomb's law. So if you are not considering it as a charge distribution or a charge density, then you will get failed due to the application of the Coulomb's law. And also the characteristics of the medium will also come into picture. So medium can be a inhomogeneous or a homogeneous. What do you mean by homogeneous medium or inhomogeneous medium means? Homogeneous medium means the characteristics of that particular medium doesn't depending upon the position of the charges. So if you're for example, if you're dealing with the charges in the laboratory, then laboratory have the air medium. So the position of the charges doesn't depending upon the characteristics of that particular medium. So if it is going to be the character of that particular medium, then it is going to be homogeneous medium. Or if you are going to have a medium between ground station and the satellite, so this medium is going to be called as inhomogeneous, because the characteristics of the medium depends upon the position of the charges, because the satellite data that we are getting from the satellite depends upon the position of the satellite, and the position of the satellite between from the ground station is going to deal with the mainly deal with the precision of the satellite data. So that precision is going to be influenced by this characteristics of this medium. And characteristics of the medium doesn't change in the direction of Coulomb's law and force. It can be isotropic or it can be anisotropic. So this is all about the Coulomb's law. In the Coulomb's law, we need to only know the formula of this Coulomb's law. 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 divided by r square. So by using this formula, we are going to solve some problems in the tutorial section. What do you mean by electric field intensity? So electric field intensity is a field medium. So it can be a vector field. So that particular field medium, a region in which a test charge Q experiences the Coulomb force as a result of presence of one or more electric point charges. So if you are having a cluster of charges, presence of one or more point charges, if you are going to come with an test charge Q nearer to that particular cluster of charges, if you are experiencing a force on that particular charge which you are having, and that region is going to be called as the electric field intensity. So the electric field intensity E is equal to the force, the Coulomb force divided by the particular charge of that particular test charge Q. So E vector is equal to the F vector divided by Q. The limit applies to the Q tends to 0. So if you are substituting the value of force from the Coulomb's law, then you will be getting the answer like E vector is equal to Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square AR12 cap. So this unit vector has been derived from the Coulomb's law, and that Coulomb's law will be only applicable when the charges are in straight line and the charges are in a medium. Thank you.